Welcome back to my channel, Thrifty Day. On today's episode, I'm going to be doing a journal with me, and it's actually going to have some of the components that will be sent in my April Pen Pal newsletter. All that information is coming later this week, but I thought I would show you what I would do with the little paper dolls that will be included in the Pen Pal newsletter. Since it's Mouseketeer themed, I actually thought it would be really cute to use some of my photos of Abby when she dressed up like a vintage Mouseketeer for the 60th anniversary of Disneyland. And so this is just some of my personal ephemera that I'm going to use on the layout. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of look at some of my bigger pieces and kind of figure out where they're going to go in relation to the photos I'm going to use. Because once you know where those bigger pieces are going, you can map out your page a little bit better. These are some of the paper dolls that will be in the April edition of the Thrifty Day Pen Pal newsletter. And a lot more of that information will be coming soon. You will get one paper doll and one outfit and one little accessory. I'll also have an option to purchase the Thrifty Day newsletter on my Etsy shop where you'll get both paper dolls and 2 outfits and 2 accessories. But all that information's coming. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, this is actually a vintage hanky. It's one of my vintage pieces, and I scanned it and turned it into a paper copy. And so what I'm going to do is just use my ruler, trim it down to size, and glue the entire thing on one side of the layout. So it will pretty much be the full image that I'm going to use on that page over there. Just using a glue stick, putting as much glue onto the back as I can so that it stays. And then I'm going to lift up some of those ends to make sure there's a little bit more glue because I don't really want this going anywhere. And I'm also going to glue additional things on top of it. So I think it just adds a nice bright pop of color. And since I'm doing vintage Mouseketeers, I wanted to have a good vintage background feel. The next piece that I'm going to put down is actually a book cover. I love the way it looks, so I'm just going to trim it down. It's called A Visit to Disneyland, I believe. I can't even see it anymore, but yes, A Visit to Disneyland. And it's a beautiful vintage picture on the front of Mickey in front of the Disneyland castle. So I'm going to use that as the main focus of the other side of the page. And I have this little piece of vintage wallpaper. It was just sitting on my work table. So I thought, I'm just gonna try to fit it in. And I eventually turned it into a pocket because I have so many photos and I wanna make sure they all make it into the spread. But I don't want it to just be a bunch of pictures, glued to a page. I want it to be interactive and interesting and different, because I've done a couple different Mouseketeer pages before, so I always want the vibes to be completely different. I don't ever want them to be the same, even though the theme is the same. So I'm just going to use double stick tape on 3 sides, and I'm going to put that onto the page, and it's going to cover the picture a little bit, but that's okay. I think layers make a page very interesting, so you can still see Mickey. He's poking out, and I think it looks perfect. I'm really happy with how it looks. And I can't wait to add some photos in there. This is actually an envelope that came in the mail today, and my husband was about to throw it out, and I said, oh no, don't, I want that. It has a really pretty window, and obviously red was perfect, but I'm gonna trim it down because I don't want that little postage part on there. And I'm going to use washi tape eventually to put it in there as a little fold out in an additional page. And now I'm just going to play around and decide where I'm going to start putting some of those paper dolls. I don't know if I'm going to use both paper dolls or just one, but I do know that I want the little girl on one end because she's just so cute. So I'm just going to measure out a book page. It's about Disneyland to put inside of that envelope because it's just white and I wanted a little bit more, of a cute little Disney vibe in there. So if I just stick that in there, I think it's perfect and adds to the nature of the theme of the page. So now that that's complete, I'm going to add the cute little girl paper doll, the little Mouseketeer. These are the paper dolls you'll get in the newsletter. You can keep them as paper dolls, so they will come with the little tabs to fold over, but since I'm just using it to journal, I'm just going to cut those tabs off. And then I'm going to glue that really cute little dress down right onto the little girl Mouseketeer. So that's just what you're going to see me doing. Mouseketeers are really sentimental to me, especially the vintage ones, because Abby dressed up as a vintage Mouseketeer for the 60th anniversary of Disneyland, and it was the most magical day. Not only was she in multiple newspapers and on the news, we weren't expecting any of that. She was just going because she loved the Mouseketeer. She loves Annette Funicello. She actually, as a 7 or 8 year old little girl, would watch the original black and white Mouseketeer TV show. And so everyone just fell in love with her. And then at one point, we were on Main Street, USA, just walking around, and we literally bumped into the original Mouseketeers. They were there being honored for that day, and they were just walking around Main Street. And they saw Abby, and they fell in love with her, specifically Mouseketeer Bobby. His first words when he saw her, he said, "Wow, you just look like you walked off the set of the Mouseketeers." And he said, "We could dance together." And he literally started dancing with her on Main Street. So Abby danced with original Mouseketeer Bobby at Disneyland on the 60th anniversary on Main Street, USA. One of my most happy and special memories. So this is a page that's near and dear to me. So I just glued down that really cute little paper doll Karen Mouseketeer on the end there. And I also put down one of her really cute little dresses. I cut the tabs off and glued it onto the floral hanky page. And I just love the way this looks. I love that she hangs off a little bit. I feel like it has such a sweet little vintage vibe. And now I'm just going to find washi tape to use to adhere that junk mail envelope to the side of the page. So I really hope you guys love these little paper dolls. Obviously, you're not getting an authentic vintage paper doll. You're getting a high quality copy of it, which is exactly what I'm using in this layout. So this is just a really fun way to use vintage paper dolls and not actually have to destroy the vintage product. So I hope you love it. I hope everyone's excited for the April Pen Pal newsletter. And all that information, like I said, will be coming to Instagram about how to join the newsletter very soon. So now that junk mail is adhered to the page, I'm going to start seeing about where I'm going to add my photos. There's Abby and Mouseketeer Bobby. And I'm just going to add a little piece of tape to the top so that insert doesn't come out. It'll just stay right in there. And that was Abby. They gave out those 60th newspapers when you walked in the gates on the 60th birthday. And so we took a picture that Newsies were giving them out. We love Newsies too, so that was really fun. I thought that was a really cute picture. It's one of my favorites from the day too, because those Newsies were just adorable. They all had little Brooklyn accents, and they were handing out the 60th newspapers, and Abby was so excited to get one, and we took that picture. I mean, we were there early. It was just such a wonderful day. So that picture is just a little bit short for that junk mail. So I do know that I have a vintage Disneyland card, and all I'm going to do is staple it right to the top so that that photo can be easily pulled out by the little card tab. So I'm just using staples. Y'all know I love staples, and it's just perfect. Now it pulls out super easy, and that little memory you can see through the window. So that's just a fun way to use cards and photos and junk mail, I guess. So the next thing I want to try to incorporate into this page is this California poppy seed packet. A lovely follower sent me a sweet little care package, and this was in it, and I love it. And obviously, since Disneyland's in California and I love the bright yellow colors, this was a perfect fit. So I just used double stick tape and put it right on top of that pocket. So it will be a pocket on top of a pocket. So now that I've cut that picture down, it fits perfect inside that little flower seed pocket. It's a picture of Abby and Dumbo waving. I'm just going to add two of my really favorite pictures. Obviously, Abby with Mouseketeer Bobby, and then the other photo is a picture of her and Bert, which is really cute. That's also on Main Street. And then I'm going to use this vintage trim to just create a little tab. And I struggled because the the trim is actually very thin, so it was hard to get the staples on there, but I made it work. Then I add staples to the bottom just so I could pull it in and out of the pocket easy, but then I realized the staples were kind of scraping against the background, so I eventually change it and make that washi tape so that it goes in and out of that pocket a lot easier. And of course I need to add these little paper doll Mouseketeer ears, so I'm going to trim those tabs off again because it's just not necessary for the page. And I'm just going to glue them on to that hanky side of the page. And then the rest of that page I'm actually just going to use for journaling space and talk about my day and my experience and my memories with Abby on that day. And then since I knew I wanted a little more journaling because that day was jam-packed full of memories, I found a scrap from the hanky page, and I just measured it out so that I could add journaling space to the back of that photo of Abby and Dumbo because it's such a pretty print and I didn't want any of it to go to waste. So I trimmed it down so it would fit the back of that little photo, and I'm just going to use double stick tape to put it on the back, and then I will do my journaling off camera, and it was a perfect little journal spot to remember that special memory. So this is about where I realized that those staples were scraping the back of the page and it bothered me a little bit. So I just used my little pliers to take out those staples. And then I get some cute little sunflower washi tape and I just put it on the bottom. And that was much better. It goes in and out a lot easier now. And I actually love how pretty it looks. So I thought I was finished. I was just kind of looking things over, but you know me, I always have to add a little bit more. And I love that Mouseketeer jacket from the paper doll, so I cut the tabs off and I decided to use my glue stick to just glue it right down on the pocket. And it kind of covers the seed pouch a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I like the way it looks, and it was important to me to have that jacket on there because it's actually one of my favorite little pieces from the paper doll set. And then of course I had to use those little tiny word stickers by Tim Holtz, and I picked out some really sweet sayings and sort of put them all over the pages. I put them on the junk mail envelope, on the photos, on the pockets. They just make me happy, and I always feel like I could find the perfect little words in those sets. So Tim Holtz, those are adorable. So this is my complete layout. I did my journaling off camera. I hope you were inspired to create your own if you choose to join the Pen Pal newsletter list for April. I hope your memories at Disneyland are as happy as mine. I literally tear up thinking about this day because it was nothing short of actual Disney magic. It will always be near and dear to my heart, and I'm just so grateful to have experienced it with Abby. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope your day is magical. I'll see you next time. Bye.